Hello, this is Lady Boulay, and I hope you're having a fantastic day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for subscribing to the channel. Thank you for your thumbs up, for your comments, and thank you for sharing the videos. Thank you for all you do to support the channel. And yes, we are commanded to love one another, whether we want to or not, or whether we agree with each other or not. Well, what we see here is Vice President Kamala Harris with a group of Asians. And in this particular session, she is promising to increase federal contracts for minority businesses by 50%. Now, she is not afraid to make this claim about what she's going to do for Asians. But let us remember this.
Do you support reparations for black people?
Well, listen, again, we had over 200 years of slavery. We had Jim Crow for almost a century. We had legalized discrimination and segregation, and now we have segregation and discrimination that is not legal but still exists and is a barrier to progress. We have disparities around housing. We have disparities around education. We have disparities around income. And we have to recognize that everybody did not start out on an equal footing in this country. And in particular, black people have not. And so we have got to recognize that and do something about that and give folks a lift up. That's why, for example, I'm proposing the LIFT Act. Give people who are making $100,000 or less as a family a tax credit, which will benefit and uplift 60% of black families who are in poverty.
So by default, it affects black families, but there's not a particular policy for African Americans that you would explore.
But no, if you look at the reality of who will benefit from certain policies, when you take into account that they're not starting at the same place and they're not starting on equal footing, it will directly benefit black children, black families, black homeowners, because the disparities are so significant. So if we focus on the specific issues that have resulted in the greatest disparities, and we understand that that's part of why we're doing it. Listen, the reality also is this: any policy that will benefit black people will benefit all of society. Let's be clear about that. Let's really be clear about that. So I'm not going to sit here and say I'm going to do something that's only going to benefit black people. No, because whatever benefits that black family will benefit that community and society as a whole and the country. Right?
So she sat there and boldly stated that she wasn't going to do anything that was just going to benefit black people. But she's got these Asians standing here saying she's going to increase federal contracts for minority businesses by 50%. But you see who's standing there with her. Now, if she meant all minorities, she would have had some black people, some recognizable black people, some Hispanics, and other people in the country that identify as minorities. If she meant minorities, she would have had several groups of minorities. She only has one group of minorities, and the only reason she's using the word minorities is because she doesn't want any pushback by saying, I'm going to give 50% of federal contracts to Asians. She just used the word minorities to stay out of trouble. But she's standing there with Ted Lieu, who is an Asian congressman, and a bunch of Asians. Even in the video clip that I just showed, even as she acknowledged that we have been through slavery, we have been through segregation, discrimination, Asians haven't been through slavery in the United States. Matter of fact, the United States Congress kept passing Chinese exclusion acts. I think they passed 3 or 4 of them, trying to keep them out. But they kept coming. But she doesn't have a problem standing there with a bunch of Asians saying what she's going to do. But she's not doing that for black Americans. I have always supported the Democratic Party. It was black people that got Joe Biden and Kamala Harris in position to win the Democratic nomination so he could run for president in the general election in 2020. And for that, we have received really nothing. We didn't need Juneteenth. We don't need another holiday. We don't need a song. We don't need anybody to sing a song at the Super Bowl. We don't need this kind of stuff. Black businesses need federal contracts. One of the few black mayors in the United States who was committed to giving black people government contracts was the late Marion Barry. And I think this is worth noting. Marion Barry was a former mayor of Washington, D.C., who served from 1979 to 1991. He was known for his efforts to promote black economic development and empowerment in the city. According to some sources, he gave black businesses several kinds of contracts, such as government contracts. Barry increased the percentage of contracts awarded to black-owned businesses from 3% to 47% of the city's $2 billion budget. That's a lot of money. He also created opportunities for black entrepreneurs to bid on city projects and receive funding. Barry hired many black people for positions in the city's government agencies, such as schools, police, fire, and government itself. He also supported affirmative action programs that aimed to increase diversity in the workforce. That's what you do when you care about your people. Now, he did this against the will of the power structure in Washington, D.C., which was not black, but he did it anyway. And we saw how it ended for him. I believe they set him up, and he went to prison on drug charges, served his time, came back to Washington, D.C., and the people re-elected him mayor for a fourth term. So that gives you an idea of what the people, the majority black people of Washington, D.C. thought of Marion Barry. So when you advocate specifically for black people, you do have to be prepared for the fallout. Because there's this thing about let's keep black people on the bottom shelf so we can all step up on black people to get where we want to go, including Kamala Harris. She slid around grifting off of black people until she got where she is now. But I'm going with the phrase, enough is enough. We have been patient, we have been kind, we have been supportive, we have been loyal. And what do we get? We get a woman calling herself black as vice president of the United States of America, and she can't do anything for the people that she claims she identifies with. But she has no problem centering herself in a group full of Asians, telling them what she's going to do for them. It's just problematic for me to see her standing there talking about what she's going to do for minority businesses when she knows full and doggone well she means Asians. So the Asians have replaced white people for being the preferred group to get anything. If black people were standing there, she would get some pushback. So this is our challenge, to support a presidential candidate who's not afraid to center himself with a group of black people and say what he is going to do specifically for black people. That is our challenge. We don't need government loans. We don't need scholarships. We don't need another song. We don't need another holiday. No, we need business contracts for black businesses. Even loans, when you get a loan, you got to pay that back. But if you get a contract, if you get a federal contract, you go in and do the job and you get paid. And they get paid well. That's how come they tried to squeeze black people out of the market for so long. So that needs to be on the agenda. And see, if they were to do something like that, that would be the opening act for a reparations plan. But they don't want to do that. They are calling black people's bluff, more or less. Like, we're gonna give you another holiday. We don't need another holiday. We do not need another holiday. I don't even know why they're singing, lift their voice and sing at the Super Bowl. That doesn't do anything for us. We don't need everybody in the country singing that song that was written specifically for descendants of slavery. We don't need everybody singing that song. They can sing it, no problem with it, but that's not a suitable exchange for the support that we have given the Democratic Party. So I guess this is supposed to make up for the Asians for the affirmative action that they got overturned, backfiring on them. Well, the polls are not looking favorable for the Democrats. Today I even saw that even the young people are more supportive of Donald Trump. We don't know if that's going to hold up or not, but it's not looking very good for them. So if they think they can play this game with black people and win, it's on us to see who's going to blink first. If this is a game of chicken, who's going to blink first? I really hope that it won't be us. And it remains to be seen whether or not Jim Clyburn can pull it out for him this time. It might be a harder pull this time. So anyway, y'all, let me know what you think about this. Here she's sitting up here skinning and grinning with these Asians when we need federal contracts in the black community. Let me know what you think about this. Thank you for listening. Subscribe to the channel, give me a thumbs up, leave a comment, share the video, and as always, have a great day.